Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Good day everyone. You're welcome to Fusion Mobile e-learning clinic. I'm Miss Lydia Idowu and I'll be taking you through commerce. I'll be looking at a particular topic under commerce, which is trade. Now, if you remember vividly, we discussed about trade during the introduction of commerce. We said commerce is divided into two parts, which is trade and aids to trade. Now, we have trade here on the board. The definition of trade is very simple and straightforward. Now, when you hear the word trade, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind is buying and selling of goods and services, etc. That's what trade is about. Trade involves buying, it involves selling of what? Goods and services. Please recall that we have treated this topic in our previous lessons. Now some questions will be displayed on your screen just for you to be able to evaluate yourself. Thank you. Alright, having known the definition of trade, let's move to the other part, which is the types of trade. Now we have two types of trade, just two types of trade. They are the home trade and the foreign trade. Now let's talk about the home trade. Under the home trade is as well divided into two, the wholesale trade and the retail trade. Now, the home trade can also be said to be domestic trade or internal trade. Yeah. Now, a home trade involves buying and selling of goods and services within a geographical area. A home trade involves buying and selling of goods and services within a geographical area. For example, buying and selling of goods within a particular environment or country. Now, home trade is divided into two, which is the wholesale trade and the retail trade. And in our previous lesson, I said the person who does or who is involved in a wholesale business is called the wholesaler, and the person who is involved in a retail trade is known as a retailer. Now, a wholesale trade involves buying and selling of goods and services in large quantities, buying and selling of goods and services in bulk directly from the manufacturer. So I have it here on the board. They buy in bulk, they buy in large quantities, and they buy directly from the producers. And the wholesaler stands as an intermediary between the manufacturer and the retailer. The wholesaler, you can as well call them the middleman. They stand as an intermediary between the wholesaler, the manufacturers, and the retailer. They make the goods available to the retailer. The retailer buys in small quantities from them. So they make goods available to the retailer. Now, let's talk about the retail trade. Like I said earlier on, a person who is involved in a retail trade is known as a retailer. Now, a retailer buys goods in small quantities from the wholesaler. And what they do is that they make it available to the final consumers. If you can remember vividly, I said in our previous lessons that commerce is not complete until it gets to the final consumers. So the retailer makes this possible because they make the goods available to the final consumers. So you can see it here, they buy in small quantities, they deal directly with the consumers. Okay, now we'll be looking at the other type of trade, which is the foreign trade. Now, the foreign trade can also be said to be an international trade. So what is a foreign trade? We'll look through that together. Foreign trade can also be said to be international trade. Now, we'll be looking at this topic in details in our subsequent lessons. I just want to give us the basis of the topic. I said it earlier on that home trade can be said to be buying and selling of goods and services within a geographical boundary. Now, foreign trade is the buying and selling of goods and services beyond a geographical boundary. It means buying and selling of goods and services between two or more countries. It involves countries. And now, when it involves countries, you know, it has to do with foreign currency. You can't expect me to go to USA to buy goods from USA with the Nigerian currency. I have to make use of their own currency. So foreign trade involves foreign currencies. Now, foreign trade is divided into three aspects. We have the export, we have the import, and we have the intraport. Now, export. What is export? Now, export involves sales of goods and services to other countries. Now, and it involves payments in foreign currencies. Okay, like I said earlier, export involves payments in foreign currencies. For example, if you export goods to US, you expect them to pay you in dollars. So that's that about export. Now let's talk about import. Import involves buying goods or purchasing goods from other countries, buying of goods and services from other countries, and the payment also involves foreign currencies. Now, the intraport. The intraport has to do with re-exporting of imports. What did I say? Re-exporting of imports. It means you imported some goods from US and you're re-exporting it to other countries. That is what intraport is about, and it also involves payments in foreign currencies as well. So that's that about trade. Trade involves the buying and selling of goods and services, and the two types of trades are the home trade and the foreign trade. The home trade is divided into two, which is the wholesale trade and the retail trade. The wholesaler buys in large quantities from the manufacturer and they make it available to the retailers. And the wholesaler is also an intermediary between the manufacturer or producers and the retailers. The retailers buys in small quantities from the wholesaler and they make it available to the final consumers. Now, foreign trade involves the buying and selling of goods and services beyond a geographical boundaries. It means buying and selling of goods and services between two or more countries, and it's also subdivided into three, which is the import, export, and the intraport. So right now, some questions will be displayed on the screen for you to be able to evaluate yourself. And if you have any question, you have to keep replaying